Hello and welcome back to Clicks and Classics. Last time, aboard Sherlock Holmes left his apartment in search for some adventure, and Watson suggested to check out the newspaper and check in with the bookstore. We are at the bookstore and we heard that there might be a book about pirates and about fish that might be interesting for us. So let's look around on the bookstore and investigate a little bit. Okay, we have something to explore here, to check out.
Appears to be a trace of shoe leather. Did somebody fall here? Those flowers need watering. By the way, Barnes, before some misfortune befalls you, I am quite certain Miss Fleming, the flowers saleswoman, would prefer chocolates to a fractured bone.
But how could you know that? Indeed, even she, I told no one about this. Other than Dr. Watson, that is. Oh, I see now how it goes.
Not at all. Watson would never reveal a confidential matter of professional trust. He did, however, mention your fine shop and your novelties. Knowing his views on classical literature, I doubt there would be any inducement to enter your shop unless it was professional business. What would trouble a man of your age and position, sufficient to require the services of a doctor? I noticed trace of shoe leather on the stepladder and deduced that you no doubt lost your balance, fell, and likely suffered a nasty sprain. As for the flowers, you deliberately let them die and left this sad display open to the public, hoping, no doubt, that their supplier would notice and take great efforts to come and replace them. Also, I know Miss Fleming to be a statuesque woman, so typical of the Scandinavians. I noted that you would likely wear shoes with a higher heel, so that you and Miss Fleming, should she arrive, see more eye to eye. Unfortunately, climbing about on ladders and the like in such shoes is a risky business, isn't it?
Indeed, it is, Mr. Holmes.
Busted!
Believe me, Barnes, try chocolates next time. And besides, it requires a bit more than well-heeled shoes to find a proper soulmate. Don't you agree?
So, Holmes showing off a little bit of his deduction skills.
Miss Fleming.
He is swooning. What do we have here?
Ah, the pirate's book.
Ooh, there is the pirate's book. Who pretended to be the lover of his brother-in-law. We now close this chapter on the cruise of famous pirates with the most terrible of the lot, the dreaded sharks of McGrinty. Never before has one band of seafaring men had as many abominable and bloody crimes to their foul credit as McGrinty and his sharks. To fully list their atrocities would likely require a dozen dedicated volumes. McGrinty himself is regarded by experts as a psychopath and deviant in spite of his indisputable seafaring skills and qualities as a leader. His refusal to give any quarter to those who surrendered is well documented. In particular, his preference for dispatching the unfortunate survivors by either slicing them to ribbons or performing slow evisceration. There's also his well-known unnatural attraction to dead men of the cloth, which is supported by numerous witness statements. Clearly a man of profane appetites and disregard for all humanity. In recent years, his depraved reputation has faded from public awareness, and younger generations know McGrinty primarily for the romantic tales of his infamous lost treasure. And the interest is well based, as McGrinty's treasure cache is estimated by the Royal Naval Register as one of the richest of its kind. Gold, precious stones, jewelry, works of art, but some of the richest taken from vanquished ships by the pirate lord and his crew. The biggest mystery is the whereabouts of his fabled booty, No trace of it has surfaced in these long years, nary a gold coin or scrap of cloth. History tells us very little about the fate of both the treasure and the sinister captain and his crew. There is one report that hints at the hiding place of McGrinty's lost riches, though it is of dubious quality. On November 1801, near the west coast of Scotland, the crew of a fishing boat witnessed a battle between the pirate horde and another ship. McGrinty was the victor and boarded the vanquished ship, which was laden with rum and molasses from the new continent. The fishermen then observed the pirates sailing back into coastal waters. Being so afraid, they took to sea as quickly as possible. From that day, there was little word of McGrinty and his sharks. There are outlandish tales of the devil coming to claim his due, taking hold of McGrinty's vessel, the Vampire, and turning it into a ghost ship. McGrinty and his crew were never seen again, but there are those who swear they saw the ghostly vampire ship being captained and crewed by the undead. Other rumors surfaced over time that are, hard as it may seem, even more preposterous and deemed unworthy of mention. The only credible account of McGrinty's hiding place comes from a supposed vampire crewman taken prisoner during one of McGrinty's last known battles with the Queen's own navy. Unfortunately, McGrinty, his ship, and the rest of his men escaped once again and vanished to parts unknown. The captured brigand bartered for his skin and promised to tell the captain about McGrinty's hiding place along the Scottish coast. He spoke of tunnels, secret entries from the sea and earth, and the means of gaining entrance to one of them. According to those present, he uttered these peculiar words: "From the middle of the three throwing mouths, 30 steps towards the ram." He refused to say more unless he was granted immediate safe conduct to the nearest port and released. This arrogance cost him his head. No account was given of his last words, which were deemed self-serving lies from a villain desperate to escape his final justice. Okay, a little bit of a pirate tale of a supposed ghost ship. And I can switch to first person with control, and then I can just move with WASD. It works pretty well. Actually pretty nice in these areas where you have to look around corners. I think I will mostly stay in third person, but it also helps because you then see the icon popping up.
A book
here.
About sea fauna.
There we have the sea fauna. Okay, some fish there. The lane snapper, the silver sea trout, the red drum, Spanish sardine, the perch, and the red porgy. Let's go back to third person.
I will take them.
Thank you, and goodbye, Mr. Holmes.
That updates the dialogue with Barnes. There we can look back at the documents. We still have the matches and the knife and the map. We can quick travel back to 21B Baker Street, but not for now. Let's take a walk back. Maybe we can find something or see something. Again, if you see any references to books, either related to Sherlock Holmes or other literature, let me know down in the comments below. Always nice to hear these. I tend to miss them.
My respects, Miss Fleming.
Nothing new with Miss Fleming. Sometimes the camera changes a little bit confusing when you navigate, so in these moments the first person look clearly can be helpful. But I think for now we just return to Baker Street. There's the Golden Lion pub, I think. Some of these places appeared in several of these games. Okay, what does Watson want?
Ah, it's good that I found you, Holmes. As I told you this morning, I visited Captain Stenick. Although his symptoms are not serious, the circumstances which caused his palpitations are quite peculiar. Perhaps you can make something of it.
Okay.
Here is Captain Stenick and Sergeant Ruffles.
Peculiar circumstances. I like it, Watson. I like it. Anything else
What do
from
you
you?
make of this, Holmes?
So far, not much. Okay, let's enter. Let's talk to Sergeant Ruffles first.
Now then, Sergeant, what is it about, and what elements of the crime do you have documented?
Referring to the official report, the following particulars were taken down. A young Maori responding to the name Bale was reported missing by his employer, Mr. Stenick. No one in the surrounding area saw or heard anything relevant to this incident.
Okay.
In truth, we rarely concern ourselves with cases such as this, but the lad speaks not a single word of English, and according to his employer, has considerable strength. Considering the wild customs of his native land, who knows what damage he could cause?
Okay, a little sprinkle of racism in there.
You must know, Mr. Holmes, there have been a few similar cases reported recently. The facts are much the same. Immigrants from the poor districts have been reported missing by their families. We expect that some low-class brothel has opened its doors to the local exotics, and Mr. Holmes, you can imagine how word would spread. Mark my words, with his unique looks and speech, we'll find this boy in no time. I imagine he'll have nothing worse to show than empty pockets and a delighted air.
That is a possibility, to be sure. However, I would be most grateful if you could ask your superiors to send me the reports about those similar cases. I rely on you, Ruffles.
Now it's Ruffles, okay? So it appears like several people disappeared from exotic countries. We are in the imperial era of the British Empire. So a little bit of racism there, but I guess that was normal at that time, that people from newer countries were considered wild. But let's talk to the guy.
Captain, I understand from Watson you are quite upset.
Any man will be the same, and with less provocation. My servant is left in the middle of the night. Damned ungrateful after all I have done for him. To top it off, he knows not one word of English. Finally, if he causes any damage, I will bear the brunt of people's anger and suffer the consequences, as I am the person who brought him to England.
How long was he in your employment, and is he accustomed to vanishing in this manner?
We returned from Australia more than 5 months ago now. But to his credit, he never left this house before now. He is afraid of the city, as are many inhabitants from open spaces.
Could he have stolen something?
Upon my word, no.
How much money does he have on his person?
Frankly speaking, he didn't have any money. I kept
Okay.
his wages for him, and they are in my safe. In any event, what the deuce would he have a need for money?
Who knew that he worked at your home, and had he any contacts here in London?
Anyone who deals with me professionally knows Baopa is my personal servant. As for his contacts, they are limited to the delivery men who bring food or other items to my home. What reason could he have to see anyone other than myself?
Watson, continue your search here. I must follow another lead.
Okay. So I think we are investigating now about his disappearance. That it is quite strange. So Baopa, I think it is his name, disappeared all of a sudden with no money, usually afraid of the city, servant, quote unquote, of this man, who had no other context. I already see some footprints there.
The lock was not cracked.
Okay, lock wasn't cracked. Ooh, what is that? Is that a thing there?
Flaxen.
Ooh,
Yellow in color.
oh, piece of cloth. Okay, let's go inside. Ooh, some
What a
drawings
peculiar
on the
drawing.
sand. In the shack where the young Maori Baupa was living, there is a drawing on the soil in Maori style. It depicts what appears to be the silhouette of a human running from a huge wave filled with vague forms that resemble flying fish. Interesting. And as I mentioned, going into the game, this, as we go on, will have a lot of Lovecraftian influences. I'm not super familiar with Lovecraft, but maybe you can enlighten me about some of the references that will be made. So we have now our magnifying glass. What is that?
This appears to contain some measure of opium. I shall analyze it at Baker Street.
Okay. Some opium. Anything else to pick up? Just clicking. Maybe I see something else. But on the edge of the bowl, maybe. Doesn't appear that way. What if I go into first person? Look around here a little bit. So that was his little shack. Wow, his quote-unquote employer. It's very generous with the space.
The lock was not cracked.
Not cracked. We saw that. We got the piece of cloth.
Footsteps. Let's see.
So we can use the magnifying glass. But maybe not now. Whoops.
Footsteps. Let's...
And we can measure the
The
footprints.
size is undoubtedly 7. The shoes are also hard-soled.
In Mr. Stanwyck's garden, I noticed footsteps leading away from the wall and towards the shack door. They were the size 7. This size, in connection with the depth of the impressions near the wall, suggests a heavy or large man, which would fit with the missing person, since Stanwyck said that he was quite strong. So, in these tighter spaces, I like to stay in first person mode, so I don't miss as much.
Footsteps. Let's see.
Okay, more footsteps. Clicking to see if there's...
The right
Oh.
shoe is missing a nail.
Yeah, there's something missing. Mr. Stanwyck's garden, I observed traces of footsteps leading from the wall around the house to the entrance of a nearby shack. There was additional evidence of a heavy object consistent with being a man landing on the ground from the wall. Inference is that the man is of a certain weight. The footsteps were consistent with a size 7 fully soled shoe. A nail is missing in the shoe in the sole of the right shoe. Let's check
The
that.
size is undoubtedly 7. The shoes are also hard-soled.
Can I check this as well? Seems to be
The right shoe is missing
missing a nail. I think that will be it.
Yes,
have here?
there is something here.
What do you mean there is something?
Yes, there is something here.
To go to the other side, maybe, where they came out.
Yes, there is something here.
Maybe I can do that. Let's run around quickly. See if I can get to the other side. Probably I will have to go here. Will it lead this way? Yes.
Yes, there is something here. Yes, there is something here.
Do I need the ladder?
This should prove useful.
Aha! Maybe I can get...
Yes, there is something here.
Can I use the ladder?
Yes, there is something here. Yes, there is something
No,
here.
that's not what I wanted. Oh, I can cycle through it. Now, okay, I can cycle through my items. Didn't know that. Figured it out. Let's see. In Mr. Stenrick's garden on the top of the wall, I found some plant fibers.
Fibers? Why are they here? It will be necessary for me to examine this more closely at Baker Street.
Okay. Meaning, let's see if there's anything.
I have no reason to go there. I have no reason to go there.
Okay, we have no reason to go there. Just checking that I don't miss anything here. Don't think so, though. Okay. Come on, move, Holmes. So we need to get back to our apartment and examine the opium piece and the fiber piece. It is a little bit easier to move in first person, I feel, so.
I don't have enough information.
Oh.
I should return and investigate further.
Okay, we don't have enough information. Maybe I have to talk to Stanwyck? Talk to me.
Have you found anything, Mr. Holmes?
Nothing there.
Suit yourself, Mr. Holmes, but it seems to me you're just wasting valuable time. Trust the instincts of a seasoned policeman. In my professional view of the case, this lad went on a spree and will pop up wiser if poorer in pocket.
Thank you for that.
What do you make of this, Holmes?
Can I show him maybe the fiber?
Have you found anything, Mr. Holmes?
No. Maybe the opium?
Have you found anything, Mr. Holmes?
No, also no. Okay, can we maybe see if these connect? Doesn't seem the case. Maybe with a knife? Also not the case. Okay. So I must have missed something. Let's see. Anything else? So I checked out the lock. We have the painting or the drawing on the ground. Wonder, nothing with the bat. Anything on the way here? Just
Footsteps.
maybe there's something else here. Since I can investigate this one, but not the other footprint. So maybe I missed something here.
How strange. This appears to be a fish scale.
Good thing we read the
under the microscope.
book. Okay, I missed the fish scale. Yeah, now it is not, I cannot interact with that. So that probably was what I was missing. Ah, yeah. We can
Come,
get a
Watson, we
cutscene.
must return to Baker Street.
What do you make of this, Mr. Holmes?
Mr. Stenick, I wish my news were your servant simply left your employment voluntarily for the service of a more honest man. Unfortunately, I don't have
snap.
that pleasure. In truth, the news is grim indeed. Your servant was seen in the company of 2 men yesterday. One of the 2 is a man of moderate size, very robust, and a mature age. His profession, which will be the key element in our investigation of this affair, will be determined by me within few hours. The other is a young Hindi who is tall and only recently arrived in England. There is a darker side to these events. Your man was not with them by choice. Rather, the evidence shows he was kidnapped. At this moment, the reasons behind this villainous act are unknown, but rest assured, the truth will not elude me for long. Gentlemen, I wish you a good day. Come, Watson, we must hurry. There's a great deal to do and little enough time to spare.
Holmes, I must protest. You did not spare my client, Captain Stenick. This seems unusually harsh.
That may be, Watson, but now what matters more is to know the reasons behind the kidnapping of this young Aboriginal yesterday evening in central London, and more importantly, what has become of him. I must concentrate on a small experiment I will run to test my theories. Please go to the poor Lovelorn Barnes and ask him if he has something on the Maori nation and its traditions. Also, if you should happen to see the newsboy outside, find out what he knows, and if it has value, give him a coin. And for God's sake, don't be a miser, Watson.
A miser?
For God's sake,
You cost me
Watson.
one of my patients, and you question my level of generosity with your informers? Oh, really, Holmes? Sometimes you go too far.
Harsh. But we're back in our apartment, and that is where I will leave it off for today. Thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comments down below if you have seen any references that I missed. We will go further into more Lovecraftian elements in the future. I can promise you that. And I hope we can solve this case. Next time we will experiment with the objects that we have and see if we can find out more about this strange case of the missing servant. And until next time, I hope that you have a great time. If you enjoyed the episode, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. That helps me out a bunch and will bring you more content in the future. I wish you all a great time. Until next time, bye bye.